Many people perceive bonds as a safe place to put money. And in some cases, if you buy government bonds, your principal is protected at maturity. Things will happen, though, between the time you buy a bond and when the bond matures. There will be market fluctuations in bonds, just as there are market fluctuations in stocks. And here's the nut of the whole thing right here. When interest rates go up, prices go down. And if you buy a bond today with a 3% interest rate on it, and interest rates go to 6%, the value of the bond is going to drop rather precipitously. Go a little bit lower, and there's a good example of what it does. Hold on. Keep going. That's if rates go down. Okay, here's what happens. It says there, okay, if market rates increase by 1%, the value, let's say you bought a bond for $1,000 and rates go up simply 1%, the market value of that bond drops to $925. Okay? Now again, if you hold on to the bond through maturity, you'll get all your money back. But if you needed to sell it in between, there's going to be the possibility of a loss. And just do the math yourself. If interest rates go up 2%, how much is the market value of that bond going to drop? When I was working as a broker, I did a lot of work in municipal bonds for clients. And we bought a lot of this was back in the 70s and 80s, and we bought some really good AAA rated municipal bonds, wonderful investments, at really good interest rates. And then we got hit with that hyperinflation, that interest rates soared, inflation soared. And these people who had bought bonds because they assumed bonds were a safer place to put their money than the stock market, watched month after month the value of their bonds, market value of their bonds going down. And finally, many of them said, I just can't take this, because they'd seen the market value go down by 50%. And so I would just argue with them and say, please just hold on to the bond, okay? You know there's a maturity associated with this investment. But emotions are a powerful force, and they decided to sell. When they did sell, obviously they locked in a loss that was only a paper loss till that point in time. And of course, as we all know, interest rates, when they spiked as high as they did, ultimately came down substantially, dramatically, to a point where the interest rates fell below the level where they had bought the bond, and if they'd have held on to the bond, they would have actually seen the value of the bond was more than what they'd paid for it. But emotion is a powerful, powerful thing. Fear is a real driver, and it makes people make unfortunate decisions. So you have to be very, very careful about that. If you get into bonds right now, my only suggestion is just one guy's opinion. Keep the maturities comfortably low. 5 or 10 years are fine. There are some really good mutual funds out there that invest in bonds, and there are some that have what are called limited maturity portfolios, where the manager will keep the maturities below 10 years. And that, again, you'll give up a little bit of yield, but you'll have a lot less volatility in the bonds themselves. So just think about that. Read that report on the SEC website, and you'll get a better sense of how important it is to understand. With interest rates as low as they are right now, the easiest course of action somewhere along the line is for interest rates to go up. Some people think interest rates are going to go up a lot. I don't. I think rates will slowly rise, but I don't see a dramatic spurt up in interest rates anytime soon. So that's just something to keep in mind and educate yourself on, so you don't get caught by surprise in any of that stuff.